Many who claim that lived experience is required to speak on topics sit back and accept whatever the mainstream media regurgitates down their throats. When I'm speaking about lived experience here, this goes further than just simple experience, although they are related. When people speak of lived experience, they seem to be talking about something specifically with minority and oppressed groups. A black woman will say that, sure, black women may be graduating at higher rates than black men and even most white men, but my lived experience as a black woman has shown me that there is an indication of direct structural racism and sexism that keeps us below everybody else in this society. So that's why we deserve to have Stacey Abrams be picked as the vice president nominee for the Democratic Party to show us some kind of thanks for all the loyalty that we've had for voting for the Democrats as such a consistent voting bloc for so long. That's what lived experience will be versus just experience where it's like, okay, I saw this. I was in a classroom. I was in said location and saw this. But they are related. Now, I'm going to get past the part here where the individual is technically the smallest minority that could possibly exist, and that in some situations here, women are a majority of the population in the United States of America, possibly the world. But in the world, there are more black people, or Negroes, however you want to refer to them, Negroid people, than there are Caucasoid people. So there's more white people. So who is the minority in that situation? Would they say there's no structural racism and limitations in a place like Kenya where the actual percent of the population that isn't Negroid is less than 5%? But then people would now go into the whole tribal situations. And anyway, certain people will find certain ways to kind of say woe is me in whichever situation and gain some points in that way. And this is just part of that in-group, out-group thing that just frustrates me. But coming back to this shorty that I'm talking about here, these people talk about the importance, the primacy of actually having experienced something directly, the actual lived experience. Like, that is more than just simple experience. Knowing it in that way is something that is a lot better than any other sort of experience that trumps everything else. It puts you in that position. Yet they just sit there and take what the establishment media says, what the mainstream media says. And this is a limited left-right kind of issue. It happens in a lot of places. But I'm talking about here where somebody, for example, we hear that Donald Trump has said this thing. And instead of actually going and listening to the actual speech that is available, they'll just accept that. In other cases, when the speech isn't actually available, they'll hear that so-and-so, this anonymous source, told this other person this, and then that person went through and wrote it, then an editor adjusted it, then that editor actually published it somewhere, then somebody else in some blog quoted it, then somebody actually heard that thing from that person, then posted it on social media, then it was shared around to a few people, and then it comes to the person, and then they just quote that thing as complete fact. In this case, they throw out all the actual lived experience value of all of those people and how it might cloud and change and affect what that person is actually saying, what information is actually coming to them. And they still accept this. So I'd appreciate a little more consistency in this situation. And for me, it depends on the claim being made. It's going to require the amount of evidence that I think. And with some of these, you have to realize somebody might have a predisposition about somebody. For example, if you are actually racist, and they are actually racist people out there, and you have a certain idea of what a black male actually behaves like, and then somebody comes in and says, this black male has assaulted this white female, and in your mind you already have a predisposition that black men are such animals and disgusting that there is no possible way that a white woman would willingly find a black male attractive. And then with your lived experience that you've seen black people in certain environments and examples where you feel, yes, these are animals, these are subhuman people, otherwise why would we keep them as slaves? Why would they keep them in those kind of positions? Why would the entire society do this? Then you can just go, from my lived experience, I think what has been said is actually viable, and you act on it and you go, you lynch that person. The lived experience there has made the person think that, yes, I can do this. But you should actually wait for actual evidence. But depending on the person, depending on their own personal experience, they may be more willing to accept certain things. Now, on the inverse, there's also the situation where somebody might think, I'm not going to actually accept this despite possible evidence out there. For example, if you're a mother, this is a child that grew inside you. You have those memories. You remember them as a tiny little child. growing up, doing the best that you can, although that best that you can was a challenging situation. You were a single mother. You were putting your kid in situations where, yes, again, it's the best that you could do with what you had at the time, the knowledge and information you had. And you saw these little things that were hurting the child, but you just said, I'm going to do my best and try to fix them. They grow up, you start focusing on the positives. That child really cares for you, really treats you in a certain way that you find to be just heartening and things like this. And then you hear they've committed this horrific crime. There's all this evidence coming out. There's the people that you saw them hanging out with, that you kept telling them they shouldn't hang out with these people. There's been these suspicious things, that the gifts that they purchase for you, and you wonder, where is this money coming from? Where is this ability coming from? You see them behaving in certain ways. Sometimes they're not returning your phone call. So you have all of this, but you still have that lived experience of raising this child through all these tough times and feeling that you have done the best that you can. So when it comes down to it, you don't really completely accept the information that this kid did this crime. This now man has done this crime out there. You might not want to accept that, hey, this actual man that I brought into the home actually hurt my kid in a way that wasn't enough for me to fix them. And now we're at this situation, and now this kid has turned into that man that I thought I saved my kid from. There's many things that go into this. So this is why I'm saying lived experience in and of itself can actually cloud somebody's point of view on actual fact and reality. So when you have an importance with lived experience, it has the tendency to affect and adjust your actual acceptance or requirement of actual evidence that doesn't go close to your lived experience. So that's it for this shorty, and that is essentially it for now. I take these short thoughts and expand on them. I think this is more a confirmation bias type of situation, or what would be the opposite of confirmation bias? Confirmation bias would be work the same way, whether you're biased to actually accepting things or biased to ignoring things that don't actually confirm what you do, because people like having the confirmation. So if it's pro what you actually believe, confirms what you actually believe, you will be biased towards it. And if it's against confirming what you do believe, you will be biased to disbelieving it. That's something that I think is something that happens. I think it happens to a lot of us. It happens to me as well. It's something I try to fight. And thanks for listening to this. If you find out that some of this content does have this confirmation bias and other issues, please let me know in the comment section. Like, share, and subscribe if you aren't subscribed. Hit the notification bell. I think even now in BitChute they have a notification ability if you're listening to this there. And there's also links to a merchandise store. I'll be posting new merchandise. Just got a substitute Wacom tablet pen, so I'm excited to get back to doing some more art. And till next one, goodbye.